Hey everybody, what's up? It's day 21 of the Civil Rights Movement Knowledge Cards. And if you've just joining us, we have been drawing a card one a day in honor of Black History Month. And I know it's March, but to explain, if you haven't seen any of these videos, started in February, got busy with work, couldn't finish them, couldn't do them one a day. So I'm back at it here in March. And because there's 31 days in March, well, guess what? We're doing 31 instead of 28. There's 48 in this deck, so we will get through most of them. We're almost to the halfway point at 24 in the total amount of cards. And as you can see, we haven't drawn this person yet. I'm not going to say who it is because that will be a surprise. There's a beautiful Library of Congress photo. And then here is the description on the back. Well, there it is. It's Fred Shuttlesworth, but we haven't drawn him yet. So I have this side are the ones that we drew, and the last one we did was the Black Panthers. That was yesterday. Huey Newton and Bobby Seale. These ones are flipped over, the ones that we've pulled already. So when we get to, so we have 20 that we've already pulled. See, now I've gotten to the word. So these are the ones we haven't done. It's about even, but we're not at that halfway point yet, because once we read 24, that's half of 48, obviously. Okay, so I shuffle them 3 times, then I draw a card, and we read that card. Here we go. And the whole point, of course, is to show off my shuffling skills, right? Because I shuffle them 3 times, and then I do the bridge, because I want to show that off to everyone. Just kidding. No, seriously, the point is to obviously honor Black History Month, and because I'm doing this in March, I serendipitously decided to honor the fact that we need to have Black history throughout the year and not just regulated to one month. Although I did make the point that the month should be to honor and highlight, because everyone doesn't, get to be thought of every single day of the year, every month, except for, some would argue we live in a white-dominated society, so we are always thought of and considered. But anyways, I digress. But I will say that I have learned some things by drawing certain cards. Some things I already knew, some moments and some people I already knew, but there were more detail in this card, or reminded me of things that I hadn't thought about in a while. Or like I said in past videos, it's been stuff that I've been able to look at in 2022 lens, or look at a more adult, mature viewpoint than I could have when I was a kid, when I learned it. And also, being brought up in the public school system, while having a fairly fortunate, education within the public school system, acknowledging the fact that it is somewhat limited to, delving in deep. So anyways, I think I even shuffled 4 times because I was digressing too much, but I always pull from the middle. And here we go. So I picked today. Oh, and I dropped the card. Sit-ins. And this is what is on the cover. There we go. So we made the cover, folks. On February 1st, 1960, 4 black students from North Carolina Agricultural and Technical College, Joseph McNeil, Franklin McCain, David Richmond, and Ezeal Blay Jr., sat down at Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, where they were refused service. Nonetheless, they did not leave. The next day, Ronald Martin, Robert Patterson, and Mark Martin, shown in this photo, sat in at the lunch counter for the entire day. Within weeks, there were lunch counter sit-ins throughout the southern states, soon followed by kneel-ins at all-white churches, wade-ins at swimming pools, and picket lines in front of movie theaters and department stores. Many of the participants were students trained in nonviolent strategy who learned to sit in patiently while white crowds harassed them, sometimes pelting them with food or pulling them from their seats, although earlier sit-ins had not brought out widespread emulation. After Greensboro, they became a staple of the civil rights movement. So yeah, I mean, again, the fact that it's on the cover, signifies that it was a, important moment. And it's also a really important lesson in the swell that it caused, right? It just started with 3, and it was a strategic thing, but it also organically grew into multiple states and things like that. Now, there was training in this, and this is where I think, and I could be wrong because I'm not, and please forgive me, I'm not as immersed in the current activism. But I don't know if there's as much training and really, that nonviolent, peaceful training of sitting in and, and it's hard. I can't attest to knowing it or being able to practice it. But I do think that was so powerful when you see the footage, as heartbreaking and as tragic as it is, of these white people, in their face. And this is, some of the most significant stuff I do remember about what I learned in as a kid. But, being dragged from their seats and the ugly behavior, and that's part of the purpose of the nonviolence is that, short of, being actually, physically attacked violently, being shouted at, thrown at food, pulled from the seats aggressively, as aggressive as that is, you don't necessarily feel as physically threatened as say being beaten or attacked in that regard. I'm not trying to lighten it in any way, but what I'm trying to get at is that it shows the evilness of the other side and what they're willing to go through. And a lot of these, again, getting back to like, say, the Little Rock Nine, the people shouting in their faces, these were good little, white church girls with pearl necklaces, and then, they say, it's like those old grannies you used to see in the old school wrestling footage, right? And if you're a wrestling fan, you know what I'm talking about. There's always the grannies in the first row shouting at the heels. But anyways, yeah, so not to get in too far, but just my initial reactions of the sit-ins. It's day 21 of the knowledge cards, looking at the civil rights movement. And again, I want this to be more as a starting point. I give some of my opinions, but I'm no expert. I'm just trying to figure this out and give you my blind reaction to each card. And then, just to spark discussion. So please leave a comment below, and you can check out some of our other videos. But we'll be back tomorrow for day 22 of the knowledge cards. And look, there they are. So thank you again, and please tell me your experience or your knowledge, or maybe you are an expert in this specific part of the civil rights movement sit-ins. Maybe this is some of the research that you've done as an activist or as a scholar in this movement. But we want to hear from you. So leave a comment below. Like this video if you like it. Thumbs down if you don't. Check out the other great videos. And again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Sam from Viral Media Network. We'll see you tomorrow for day 22. And also be kind to one another. Show each other respect. Engage in each other. Relish in your differences and similarities. And find the common ground to get along with each other. All right. Love you. Be safe out there. Bye.